messed around, changed the article numbers and presented us with the same thing. This is the Constitution that people like us sitting in rooms in France and people like us sitting in rooms in the Netherlands said no to in 2004. They said no. And what did the bureaucrats in Brussels do? These quiet men, these people that none of you know, what did they do? They said, we'll ignore the people. We're going to do this again. We're going to do this again. The preening prince of the Elysee Palace says in his election, I'm going to go out to the French people and I'm going to give them a mini treaty. And what does he do? He presents them a few months later with a document that is 7,500 words longer than the Constitution that they rejected. That's his idea of a mini treaty, a slimmed down version of the Constitution. And it was presented with a problem. My goodness, Monsieur le Président, the document is longer, it's not slimmed down, it's a fatter version of the treaty. So what did they do? They reduced the type size and closed the line spacer to reduce the number of pages. This is the types of fools and idiots that these people take the people of Europe for. What is Europe? What is Europe? What's European culture? What are we as Irish people? I have this funny sounding accent. My mother's from Atholl Island, my dad is from Glenamady in Galway. I moved over here when I was almost 13 years of age and I could never shake this accent off. It's the story of emigration. That's the voice that you're hearing here. I didn't come from money or wealth or privilege. Anything that I got, I worked hard for. And we fought and we bled and we died in this country for our freedom. And millions of people fought and bled and died across the fields of Europe so that we had the right to hold accountable those people that make the laws and rules that govern our lives. And I beg you, don't give that up. It was hard won, and it's very, very easy to give away. And every time we've taken that step backwards in Europe, any time in the previous history where we have stepped back and we have allowed government to distance itself from the people, and we have put government above the people and out of reach of the people, every single time in European history it has ended badly. I love Europe, I love Ireland, and I care about it. I'm a father of 4 children, and people say to me, oh, well, you're a businessman, you've got lots of money and you've got this car and that helicopter and this house and so on and so forth. Why are you interested in this? Because if I die with all the money in the world and that's what I bequeath to my children, and they're not free, and they don't have the right to hold those that govern them accountable, I have been a failure as a father and I've been a failure as an Irishman. And it's an indictment on the body politic in Ireland that we have good people like Deirdre de Burke here put into a situation where they're having to come out and sell this treaty to us as though it was some wonderful cure. Let me get into some specifics. So I've talked about the fact that our voting weight is reduced by 55%. Foreign direct investment, prosperity. I know a thing or two about building businesses and creating jobs and creating prosperity. Nicolas Sarkozy and Angela Merkel's idea of being competitive with us is to make us less competitive. They're not reforming their economies, so they're going to unreform ours. They're going to impose shackles and cripple us economically so that they're better able to compete with us. Foreign direct investment. We're going to hear wonderful things about the billions of investment and the thousands of jobs that are being created in Ireland, because brilliant agencies like the IDA... Is it working out? There you go. Hopefully you could hear me while it wasn't working. Brilliant agencies like the men and women working in the IDA over the past number of decades have gone out and crafted with Irish governments policies to attract foreign direct investment into this country, and they've been very clever about the way that they've done it, and they've been highly successful. And what's in this treaty? What do the bureaucrats of Brussels, what have they put in there? They have made commercial policy an exclusive, I say exclusive, competence of the Union. And just in case we were going to try and wiggle out, in the description of what commercial policy is, it specifically says foreign direct investment policy. And when they tell you we've got, oh, you can have your veto over tax, it's just amazing, and you can tell how many of these politicians just haven't read the thing. They've given this veto over tax, but there are so many back doors in this thing that there's hardly a wall at the back at all. It's all doors. Think about VRT. VRT is tax on goods that is perhaps technically maybe illegal under European law, but that's how we pay more for our cars here in Ireland than people do anywhere else in Europe, almost anywhere else in Europe. Think about VRT in reverse. There's something called enhanced cooperation in this treaty, which allows groups of countries, imagine the big ones, clubbing together to make their own policy and move ahead in what they call a fast track. Countries can cobble together, come up with the equivalent of VRTs in trades and goods and services, and can cripple our competitiveness. And I'll be glad to answer any question on the economics of this thing, but I'm telling you, as somebody that knows a thing or two about business, this treaty is bad for Irish prosperity, it's bad for Irish business. Now, you're not being asked to vote on Europe. You won't find a more pro-European person than me. You're not being asked to vote on Europe. You're being asked to vote on the Lisbon Treaty. Dick Roach can't even call this thing its name. It's the Treaty of Lisbon. It's not the Reform Treaty. It doesn't say Reform Treaty anywhere in the document. You can have a look at it here. They cannot even tell the truth about its name. How do you expect them to tell you the truth about what's in it? The people of France said no. The people of the Netherlands said no. If you want Irish prosperity to be protected, if you care about freedom, if you treasure democracy, if you believe that government must always be accountable to the citizens, you have to say no to this treaty. Because saying no to this treaty is saying yes for something better. The Irish once saved civilization many centuries ago. Ireland has rarely, if ever, faced such an important decision as we face in these coming months. That's a fact. Every single one of us has a duty and responsibility to really carefully think through what we're doing here. There are 470 million people out there who are not being asked. Tens of millions of them already said no. Charlie McCreevy said, if Ireland votes no, we'll be the laughing stock of Europe. And I said back to Charlie McCreevy, no, you've got it wrong, Charlie. If and when the Irish people say no, this power-grabbing Brussels bureaucracy will be the laughing stock of close to 500 million citizens of Europe. Because remember what Europe is. Europe is you. It's us. It belongs to we the people. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States, said, those that would give up a little security, give up a little freedom to achieve a little security, deserve neither and will surely lose both. Remember those generations that went before us, not just here in Ireland but right across Europe. Remember what Europe is. It's about you. And please, I beg you, read this treaty and you'll know what to do. Thank you.